Enter the Eckrich $1 million challenge. One lucky winner will have the chance to throw for $1 million at the 2017 College Football Playoff National Championship game. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstakes ends December 11th, 2016. Contest rules online.
I'm Jamel Hill, and on the latest His and Hers podcast, award-winning writer and millennial culture critic Jamila Lemieux joins me to discuss the impact sports is having on the presidential election.
This is Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
A Seattle Seahawks victory.
He's got a man, Jimmy Graham. Can he hang on to it? He does! Touchdown!
You got Dan Carpenter coming in, and obviously Richard Sherman's offsides. He just plows into Carpenter.
I want to block the kick. I'm not going to let him make a kick.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous play.
The game is, not as fun. It's all political and things of that nature at this point. You definitely don't want to take the fun away from the game.
Now, here's Mike and Mike.
Here we are, back in better than ever. Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And so, finally, it arrives. Election Day, the end of one road and the beginning of another for all of us. And we'll see which one we choose. I'm going to vote late this afternoon because we like to bring our kids with us so they can take part in the process. Golic, I know you like to go early, lest they should run out of donuts at your polling place.
Oh, I thought you were saying you take your kid to try and get them to vote.
No, that's not allowed. I like to get them over the
it's not allowed.
Different years. Well, just to clarify.
What do you mean they can't vote?
Get them physically as close to the process as they can be so they can see democracy in action to the best of our ability to display it for them.
I'd rather see capitalism in action, and that is, when you go to like a blood drive, you go to a place, the place you go usually supplies a bunch of snacks, which is a beautiful thing. I enjoy giving blood. I really do, from a serious point. But then I eat a lot of the snacks there as well. I'm not going to lie.
I'm dying to see where you're going with this.
Well, I'm saying as far as the election, the place you go doesn't really supply snacks. They don't really care on the election day. When I'm talking about capitalism, if you're a kid, you have your little lemonade stand and all that in your front yard, this is where you go sell stuff. This is where we have the people out there in front trying to vote for this guy, vote for that. You have a table right there with some cupcakes, some donuts, some cookies. That's where you make some money right now. This is a great opportunity, kids. That's what your kids should be doing. They can learn the process and make a little bit of coin along the way. That's the polling place I look for. Which kids are entrepreneurial enough to set something out there, then I will reward them. I will reward you with folding money, not jingling money, gang. Okay? Just know that.
So this is, not the direction I was expecting to go this morning.
Process.
But listen, I like it. It's a good concept. The one thing that we were throwing around right before the show.
You're not like that? Would you not? Oh, see, you don't eat something that people make, though.
I don't. No, not if someone. I mean, if they went to the store and bought a bunch of things and then sold them wrapped, I might consider buying them. But I could just as easily go to the store and buy them myself. At many of the polling places I've been to over the course of time, they have had stuff.
Yeah,
like there'll be like a cake sitting there, coffee, certainly coffee, donuts, cookies.
Really?
Chips, yes.
I might. I guess you live.
You're not voting in the right place.
You live in a really nice town then, I guess.
We got potato chips, boy. Quite a town we have.
Like I said, more for blood drives here. They're not a whole lot where I vote. That's what I mean. You need a kid out there. Man, do it. This is your time.
Yeah.
This is your time to shine.
Mr. Golic, his blood sugar level will drop if he goes that long. He has to wait in a voting line for a period of time without eating anything.
Listen, we're talking about incredible turnout today for voting. And by the way, go vote. Go vote. So if we have incredible turnout, just think about that. I'm willing to spend the extra time at my polling place to go ahead and sample some of the goodies that the kids want to sell.
I was trying to think as I was coming in this morning of different things we could do on social to sort of connect to the election. And look, obviously today is a day for the election, and we're going to talk about sports because that's what we do. And there are probably only 250 channels on your television and 20 stations on your radio where they're talking about the election.
Listen, the first time we brought up the election was when the Cubs won, and I said, right in Theo Epstein. So we don't really talk about the election here, so we're not going to start today.
Well, let's see how much sway you have. If he winds up winning significant portions of the electorate. electorate.
For the guys on CNN to say, Theo Epstein with 2% of the vote.
What a hilarious moment that would be tonight if Anderson Cooper says CNN is now projecting Theo Epstein will be the next president of the United States. But anyway, I was trying to think, who is right now the best athlete of prominence who shares a last name with the president? Who is the best Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, Adams in sports? Someone brought up Clinton Dix. I don't know if that counts.
That works for me.
Well, the Clinton counts.
Well, that's what. It's not the we're looking
I get
at.
That, but we have the hyphen.
Oh, you never know with this election. You know what I mean? That may fit
not
more.
The I was referring to. It was the hyphen Dix.
Well, what else? The Clinton was the only thing we're really worried about.
I get that. I just don't know if it counts.
Sure.
He wasn't William Jefferson Clinton Dix.
Listen, there's not a lot of rules to our things here. Let's go ahead.
I think we must stay by the rules.
Let's go ahead and let that one in.
All right, if we're allowing that, does he wind up winning then? Is it Devontae Adams?
Right.
Is it Richard Jefferson? Who are we missing? How about Reggie Bush?
Reggie Bush.
There's
a ton out there. Prominent athletes with president names, last names.
They just gave me a winner in my ear. Russell Wilson.
Oh,
Russell Wilson, Woodrow Wilson.
There you go.
Russell Woodrow Wilson.
Yep, there you go.
Let's go the old, like, boomer circa 1980-something. Like, Russell Woodrow Wilson running around out there throwing 2 touchdowns to Jimmy Graham last night.
Tembo gets in my ear, Greg Monroe. We can have some fun with
but
this.
It works.
Yes, it does.
So if you want to have a little fun on this day, send us in the name of your favorite athlete who shares a name with the president, or anything else you think might be funny.
Sure, why not?
And Romano will go through it, and we'll try and figure out what's what today. Anyway, let's get into it here again. We're going to talk sports this morning. We certainly encourage everyone to go out and vote today. As I said, I'm going to go late in the afternoon. Do you go right after this?
Well, I'll go
wait till
before
my
lunch.
Kids get out of school.
No, we'll go before lunch and then go have lunch somewhere to celebrate.
So we will. Sorry.
There
is no cause. There is literally nothing that Golic and his family can do that is not cause for a celebration that involves eating.
Understand, when I say celebrate, I mean because it's Tuesday. Not because of the election or
because
anything.
It's Tuesday and it's about 11:30.
Exactly right. Celebration time.
Feels like time for a meal. All right. Off the top with the sports, not the football game to begin. How about Steph Curry last night? So the whole world made a big deal about how the other night he did not make a single three. Well, last night, Mike, he made up for it in a very big way.
Yeah, he sure did. Listen, we already, he was tied with the record already with Donnell Marshall and Kobe Bryant at 12. Now he owns the record outright at 13, so he owns that record. 3-point field goals in the season, he owns that record. Season-leading NBA in 3-point field goals, that record. And consecutive games, which was broken, as Greeny said, the last game at 157. He leads that record. So I don't think it's shocking. Quite honestly, I think most people, when we say it this morning, their first words were going to be, I thought he already owned that record. And in part, he did with 2 other people. Now he owns it outright. So I don't think it's a huge shock. I think if he didn't, it was just going to be a matter of time until he did.
13 threes for Steph Curry. Meanwhile, I tell you what, no player in the league is hotter than James Harden. He had 32 points and 15 assists. Mike, look at the last 4 games for James Harden.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous. The only other players to record at least 30 points and 10 assists in 4 straight games in the last 40 seasons was Michael Jordan, who had a 5-game streak back in 88-89. What's interesting, Mike D'Antoni, his coach, said, I think James Harden could double his assists from last year. He averaged 7.5. And people immediately laughed at that. I think even Harden laughed at that. This guy loves to shoot the ball. He's leading the league with just under 13 assists a game right now.
And bear in mind, in D'Antoni's system, you're going to have a lot more offensive plays, a lot more offensive opportunities. Elsewhere, the new top 25 in the college football playoff rankings will be revealed tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Golic, let's make the projections right now. We will project the 4th place finisher in tonight's college football playoff ranking. Will it be Ohio State or Washington?
Well, that certainly is. People are throwing Louisville in there with their FPI as well. Louisville is going to be 6th. It's just going to be who's 4th or 5th. I think at the end of all of this, if Washington wins out, they're going to be there. But for the excitement of tonight, will Washington keep getting, in some people's eyes, quote-unquote, disrespected, and Ohio State jump them because they destroyed the number 10 team in the country? Wouldn't shock me at all if Ohio State's at 4. I'd put Washington at 4.
We'll find out tonight, 7 Eastern.
Off the top.
And then finally, Monday Night Football last night. Let's lose the music. Let's get into it. Seahawks beat the Bills in a night filled with crazy plays, big performances, and absolutely terrible officiating. Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. In November, Progressive is giving away over 100 vehicles to veterans in need as part of the Keys to Progress program, giving thanks for the freedom they've given us. To learn more, you can go to progressive.com/keys to progress.
Really quick, because we know where this one's going to go. If you don't know, it's going to have to do with Richard Sherman and the officiating. But, a good win for Seattle. This is one of those, if you drop down from another planet and just looked at the stats, you'd say, oh, well, the Bills won this game. The Bills doubled them up in time of possession, 40-9, just under 20, 425 yards to 278 yards, yet it was the 21-point second quarter that really helped Seattle, gave them that lead and hold off Buffalo trying to come back. And welcome back to the fold Jimmy Graham, who had 2 touchdowns, both one-handed catches because his other hand was being held. Both one-handed catches in the end zone, and a nice night for him where you just kind of scratched your head when you wondered where he's been. His 12 career receiving touchdowns on Monday Night Football are the most by a tight end in Monday Night Football history. So they got him back in the fold. Seattle gets a win, even though being out, possessing, outgained, out about everything except for penalties. I think they about split penalties, and the refs got involved again in this one. 11 penalties for the Bills, 10 penalties for the Seahawks, and some awful calls and some questionable plays.
So, let's start with the play right before the end of the first half, and it is yet another example of this madness that takes place on Monday night in Seattle. It's a very strange coincidence that this is now the third time in the last 4 years we've had something crazy. Nothing as crazy as the Fail Mary, if you will, in 2012 that basically ended the referee's lockout, or when the replacement refs were there and they made the ridiculous touchdown catch call that gave Seattle a win over Green Bay that they absolutely did not deserve. Then last year you had that crazy play where they batted the ball out of the back of the end zone. That somehow wasn't called. This one is at the end of the first half. A million things happen afterwards, so we can't say it decided the game.
Right.
But it was just a ridiculous play. For those of you who didn't see it, right before the end of the half, Buffalo was lining up to try and kick a long field goal.
54-yarder.
54 yards with Carpenter. Richard Sherman, in trying to time the snap, which the Seahawks do, and often do it extraordinarily well, he is offsides by about a minute and a half.
Yeah, he is.
So he is insanely obviously offsides. But, Mike, to the point that you were making, and we were talking about this in the green room before we came in, the real problem comes here that the whistle doesn't blow nearly quickly enough.
See, what happens when you're offsides, and you see Aaron Rodgers is the king of this, is you try and bark those signals to get an offside, and then we call what we call a free play. If the ref doesn't blow it dead, if somebody isn't coming unabated to the quarterback, the refs will let the play go. And then usually the quarterback lost a long pass down the field because it's technically a free play. Now, what happens when you jump so far offside and you have a clear line to the quarterback, the refs will blow the whistle and stop the play, saying the quarterback's going to get killed unabated, this guy's way offside, no play at all. So what happens here is Richard Sherman is so far offside, and inexplicably, the refs don't blow the whistle right away. If they blow the whistle right away and Sherman hears a whistle, you would hope he veers off then and doesn't go to block the kick. But they don't block the kick until he's in, or they don't blow the whistle until he's into his blocking motion of the kick. So while everybody's saying dirty or not dirty, watch that replay closely. Watch his left hand. This is another thing. And I've been on field goal block. Rarely are you in that clean and the play is legal, okay? So now you're in that clean. You're almost in no man's land of what you're normally you block the kick in the air, correct?
Yeah.
You see those guys on the end dive across and kick the ball in the air. This ball is on the ground. So Richard Sherman has a decision to make, and there's no whistle. So watch his left hand. His left hand actually goes down to block the ball as he's trying to then go by the ball. If he truly dove for that ball, he'd have wiped out the holder and hit the kicker in the legs. So I'm going to sit here and say I don't think it was a dirty play. That ball was still on the ground. The whistle hadn't blown. You learn, I taught my kids and every kid I coached in Little League, you play until the whistle. That whistle did not blow. That's on the officials. Richard Sherman kept going with the play, and it is an oddity that you're in that close in that situation where the ball is actually still on the ground. Again, you're taught to go flying by and dive to block it. The ball is on the ground, and he's there. So you're not really taught how to block there. So the left hand goes out for the ball, the right hand goes across Carpenter and takes out Carpenter. Quite honestly, I don't think that was a dirty play at all. I put that one completely on the refs for not blowing the whistle.
The refs then compound the error. What they eventually wind up ruling is just the offsides.
Right.
Now, there's a distinction without a difference. It couldn't be roughing the kicker because the play never counted.
Because
but
it was
could have
dead.
been unnecessary roughness.
Exactly.
So it's a 15-yard penalty either way. They don't rule that. They do rule, however, that because Carpenter is down and injured and the Bills have no timeouts left, that he must leave the field for a play.
Yep, because the trainers came out. So if you're hurt, you have to go off the field for one play.
So the Bills now have to run out. First of all, the Bills start running off the field.
Yeah.
Walt Anderson has to beg everyone to come back on the field. They all come back on the field. They then have to snap the ball and clock it,
right,
which they do. Then the officials, and this to me was the more egregious problem, and Dean Blandino and Mike Pereira and everybody acknowledged this was a mistake, and this was a joke. They stand over the ball.
Right.
He is standing over the ball until there are just a few seconds left. The official is a few seconds left on the play clock. They then get the ball snapped, and Carpenter nails the long field goal, but they rule that they didn't get the playoff in time, so it's a delay of game. They push it back 5 yards, and this time he misses it right. He misses it wide right.
He did.
So it costs them 3 points.
It wasn't delay of game on the field goal. It was delay of game on the kill play. So because they had to kill the play because Carpenter was out. So that was a delay of game. They came out and the quarterback tried to spike the ball. That's what he was trying to do, but the referee was standing over the...
And they wind up ruling the delay of game on the play. He winds up kicking it right, and they miss it after he makes it. The point of the matter is the delay of game winds up wiping out the field goal. They move it back 5 yards, and this time he misses.
Right, he missed it. Right.
So the referees wind up costing them 3 points on those 5 yards, or the second kick more significantly, and that's just terrible. So now Rex Ryan is going crazy. Richard Sherman winds up making an interception in the second half. He gets knocked out of bounds on the Bills sideline, standing right in front of Rex.
Yeah, he did.
And the stare down. It was your classic moment.
Yeah, it was.
Rex, in typical Rex fashion, is yelling at Richard Sherman. Yeah. And Sherman is just staring a hole through him.
Staring. And that was obviously a miscommunicated play because the pass looked like it was to Sherman. So it was a miscommunication between quarterback and receiver on that one, an easy interception. But that's the big discrepancy. Was that a dirty play by Sherman? And more importantly, the referees completely blew that. Completely blew that from not blowing. As soon as you saw him offsides, and it was apparent that he was offsides, to blow the whistle and stop the play. They didn't do that. And then the mess up on the delay of game was another embarrassing move. They lost control of that game at the end of the half there. And quite honestly, I'll be honest with you, the league saying it shouldn't have been a personal foul, but it should have been unsportsmanlike conduct on Richard Sherman, I almost disagree with that because the whistle hadn't blown. That's the ref's fault. You play to the whistle. They didn't blow the whistle until too late, until Sherman was already in blocking motion on the kick.
One way or another, that's what Richard Sherman is saying. So here's Sherman after the game on the field saying, listen, this one was not on me.
I went for the ball. The holder still had it, so I didn't hear no whistle. They say play to the blow of the whistle, so I went and tried to block the kick. And I got it. I think I got a piece of it, and then the kicker somehow kept going. I assumed he was going to stop when he saw me going for the ball, but he didn't, so can't stop that. It wasn't a dirty play. I'm a pro. I've been in this league long enough. I know how hard it is to play. When you go for a block, that's what you do. You go for a block. Even if, they said I was offside, you still stop the play. You're not going to let him just kick the ball freely and let him have a free play. He could have made the decision not to kick the ball. He saw the flag before I did. He has a better vantage point than any of us, but it is what it is.
All right, so here is an important point that he's making.
Yeah.
And to me, it is his best defense. For those who are saying that this is a dirty play by Sherman, his point, I think, that he's making there, and you tell me if I'm right, is he's not going to give him a free play. For all he knows, he's offside.
Right.
But if he lets the kicker make the kick, they're going to decline the penalty, and the field goal is good.
Exactly right.
So if they're going to kick it, it's his job to block it. Now, he goes right into the plant leg.
But where is he? I guess that's my point. Where else is he going to go? The ball is still on the ground. Normally when you see that block, you time that, you turn the corner, and the ball is kicked. So you see all the guys dive in front of the holder and the kicker. That's where they dive. But the ball was still – so I'd like someone to tell me, where was he supposed to go? Where did you want him? He's coming full bore, and there's no whistle, and the ball is on the ground. And he's absolutely right, because you know what he knows? He knows he was offsides. He knows he was offside.
Yeah.
But this is in football. This is called a free play, and he's right. If that kicker kicks the ball and makes it, they just decline the penalty, and they get the 3 points. So I honestly do not have a problem with what he did.
I think I actually agree with you. There was when I saw it happen, I was like, oh, my God, that's the dirtiest play I've ever seen in my life. But then when you actually think it through and you put yourself into the position that he's in, I can understand why it's his job to block the kick. Yeah. And to your point, I don't know where he's supposed to go.
Well, he's
so far offside, he could almost grab the ball.
That's exactly right. That's on the refs. The refs should have blew that whistle immediately. So if you think it was a dirty play, continue to tweet in and all you want and tell me how he was supposed to block it. How should he have blocked that kick? If he dove for it while it was on the ground, he'd have wiped out the holder, and their legs go, the one leg that is up there. So I'm not sure what else he could do, because I saw he just put his left hand down to try and block it and went by the kicker and ended up hitting the kicker. So I honestly didn't have a problem with it.
Crazy night, crazy play. And in the end, the Seahawks with a big win and in a close game and a good game. And the Bills had the ball down there late with chances and couldn't get it done. And there was another, what I thought was a brutally missed call on a receiver just gets knocked down in the end zone on the fourth down play at the very end with no flag thrown. So a crazy night last night, but in the end it is Seattle getting a big win. Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest lists today on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Ryan Clark in our studio as usual for 2 hours. We'll have Danny Cannell today and a whole lot more. If you miss anything on Mike and Mike, you can listen to all 4 hours on demand in the ESPN app. And a reminder, this week, the winning word is in this hour, 6:45 Eastern Time. So in 25 minutes, we'll give you the word, we'll give you the ways to enter, and you could be on your way with us to the College Football National Championship game. Coming up, Golic, it may be unprecedented. There is an NFL game this weekend in which both teams are starting the wrong quarterback. You'll hear which game and who they are right after this word from Dave & Buster's. Mike, make the best of the football season by getting to Dave & Buster's. Why? They got the best offer going on right now, and it's almost over. Play 3 sports games free every day now till November 13th. Think you're fast enough? Show off your skills while playing the ultimate football game, and that's called Gridiron Blitz.
Then get yourself some $5 apps every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, like Huddle-O Nachos, Mozzarella Sticks, Spinach Dip, all for just $5. Choose your favorite beer to wash it down. They have over 20 to choose from. And, oh, by the way, how about their massive HD TVs? You feel like you're at the game no matter where you sit. No better place to get the most out of the football season this year. Get to the best place there is. Hurry in right now and get their best offer. Play 3 sports games free, $5 apps, and beer specials. This offer is almost over. Do not miss out. Dave & Buster's is the only place to watch the games, to play the games, and the best sports bar ever. We're back after this on Mike and Mike.
Sides in the backfield. Here comes a 4-man rush, and Wilson's going to throw for the end zone. He's got a man, Jimmy Graham. Does he hang on to it? He does! Touchdown! Seahawks! Jimmy Graham jumps up and spikes the ball. Another spectacular sliding, diving, one-armed, it looked like from here. Reception by number 88. This guy is unbelievable.
Oh, by the way, Jimmy Graham made 2 unbelievable touchdown catches last night as the Seahawks beat the Bills in what was a very interesting Monday night game, 31-25. Graham, 8 catches, 103 yards, and 2 scores. Basketball, Steph Curry set an NBA record last night, making 13 threes as the Warriors beat the Pelicans by 10. What he wound up scoring? 46 points
yes.
last night. And then finally, the new college football playoff rankings will be revealed exclusively tonight on ESPN, 7 Eastern. The real question, who will be number 4? Will it be Washington? Will it be Ohio State? I guess in theory, could it be Louisville, though that would be a big surprise.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. I think it'll be one of those other two.
Where they were a week ago. Sports Center with Mike and Mike, brought to you by AutoZone.
We're giving you a chance, and very soon, by the way, to be on the road with us to the national championship game. Just be listening every weekday for your chance to win the Mike and Mike on the road to the college football playoff sweepstakes presented by AutoZone. Visit mikesroadtothecfp.com for official rules.
Yep, the word is coming up in 15 minutes. We'll give you the word and the ways to enter. You could be on your way with us to the championship game in January. It is, of course, Election Day across America, and we encourage everyone to go out and vote today. And we were trying to come up with some way to have a little fun on this Election Day with sports. And so we're just asking you, who is your favorite athlete, or what is your favorite athlete's name that is a presidential name? So, Don, I have a couple of them here in the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Don Juan tweets us, how about Lincoln Kennedy?
Oh.
That is a winner, hands down. It is a presidential first name and a presidential last name.
Boy, that's really good.
That's going to be very
tough to
beat. Lincoln Kennedy.
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson is a presidential first name and a presidential last name.
Yep, that's what John put that one in. Calvin Johnson, as he said, wins both first and last name.
Steve Haskins tweets us Madison Bumgarner. Scott Wahlberg tweets Tanya Harding.
Tanya Harding.
That's a fabulous one.
That is a great one.
I can't explain why I love that as much as I do, but I do. Bo Jackson, Harrison Barnes, Joe Carter. So keep
these
those
are good.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, there really is.
But it's going to be tough to beat Lincoln Kennedy.
It really is. That's a tough one.
Got you coming and going.
Yeah, it really does. That's a really good one there.
Mike and Mike, we'll get the thoughts of John Gruden on all the Monday night action tomorrow morning. And don't forget, it'll also be Gruden's Groove tomorrow, powered by Die Hard at Sears Auto Centers. We'll get back to the Monday game in just a moment. First, let's give you a quick thought on next Sunday's schedule. There is one game in which many people, I think, Golic, would argue that both teams are starting the wrong quarterback. By ESPN's analytics, by our total QBR metric, the 2 worst quarterbacks in the National Football League this season have been Ryan Fitzpatrick and Case Keenum. They have combined to throw 17 touchdown passes and 24 interceptions. They will start against each other this coming weekend. And many people will look at that game and say, why are either of them starting? The whole world seems to want Jared Goff to start for the Rams at this point. And what we're hearing coming out of there is that the Rams coaching staff just does not feel that he's ready to go. The Jets, a lot of people, myself included, believe it is time to hand the ball to Bryce Petty, move that thing forward and see what we can do. I actually believe, now I recognize that I'm a Jet fan, so I'm a little bit more, I have a little more at stake in that one. I actually think it is easier to explain why Goff is not playing than it is to explain why Fitzpatrick continues to be the starting quarterback of the Jets. That's my opinion. What's yours?
Well, I mean, listen, just from sitting here, from 30,000 feet up, I would start both the other guys. But I've also then I'll put myself as a former player in the locker room that says if we still have a sliver of a chance, you sit there and look at the Rams at 3-5. The first wild card team has 3 losses. The next one has 4 losses. So they're relatively close to that. It's a number of teams, but you're there. So to sit there and say, wait a minute, we're 1 loss out of a wild card race, and to throw in a quarterback who we don't feel gives us a better chance to win right now, I get it. And for the Jets, sitting there at 3-6, there's plenty of teams ahead of them, where it makes it look way more dire that they're not going to get a wild card spot. So quite honestly, that's the spot I would look at to bring in Bryce Petty. But I do get it from the locker room. You never want to say, okay, we're throwing in the towel. But the one thing players do know, in L.A. for the Rams, listen, a game, anything can happen in a game. You could be that one game away from being right in it. For the Jets, you'd need that to happen a few times. So quite honestly, I would make that move with the Jets.
I would too. That's part of my point. My bigger point would be looking at the Rams. It's so easy for all of us on the outside to sit here and say, put Jared Goff in, put Jared Goff in, put Jared Goff in. Look what Carson Wentz is doing. Look what Dak Prescott is doing. Look around the league at rookie quarterbacks. And listen, you heard Louis Riddick on our show yesterday, and he said it many times, and so have others. Maybe the Rams coaching staff, really the biggest hit you can give to them is if that kid is not anywhere near ready, maybe that is a function of the way he has or has not been coached up. I can't speak to that. How do I know? I'm not there. But here's what I will say. There is nothing the Rams organization can do right now more important than develop Jared Goff the right way, whatever that way is best for him. Now, I understand the other 52 guys on that team don't have that as a concern. But if you're the owner and you're the front office and you're the coach, assuming you think you're still going to be there, your primary responsibility is to turn Goff into the best quarterback he can be. So if for whatever reason you believe that he's just so lost, and people say that in the preseason and
right.
in the summer that he just looked so totally lost, if you believe that he is so lost that it would actually hinder his progress to put him out there on the field right now, then I totally get it.
Well, I get it as well, and then I really put a mark on that organization for drafting him. I mean, are you kidding? If he is that far not ready, there is no way that was a good pick. No way. That if you say he is absolutely not ready to be on the field right now, you blew the pick.
Well, let me ask you that. So we always say you're drafting that quarterback for a decade. You're not drafting him for this year. Carson Palmer didn't play a snap as a rookie.
I get it, but that's because maybe the option they had was better, or was it that he wasn't ready? Donovan McNabb, was it he not ready, or were there other quarterback you wanted to bridge the gap a little bit? It seems like with him, we never heard that about those guys. We seem to be hearing from more than a few people that this guy is a real struggle fest going on right now.
Right.
And if that's the case, you really have to look at why did you take him with the number one pick in the draft?
Well, obviously only time will tell. So there are a lot of different things you could look at with that situation and say, was it a bad pick? Have they not done the right things to get him ready?
I was just going to say on that one, name me the quarterback they've developed over the last, handful of years or so.
Who is they?
The Rams staff.
Oh, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So, that's my point. Louis Riddick is basically putting this on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm not at their practices. I can't see exactly what's going on there.
Right.
How in the world do I know? What I know is that if for whatever reason they believe it would hinder his progress to put him out there right now, and look at what happened to David Carr and other quarterbacks.
Oh, I agree with that.
So I get that.
Oh, yeah.
With the Jets, I don't get it at all. I don't. For the life of me, I don't understand how they can do it.
You.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is killing them. He is killing them.
Yeah.
He is a turnover machine. This year, he has turned the ball over at a more alarming rate and in equally bad-looking circumstances to the much ballyhooed Mark Sanchez. The only thing he hasn't done is run into the behind of one of his offensive linemen and fumble. So I don't know what you have to do to get yourself benched. Now, to Todd Bowles' defense, they did bench him. And they put in Geno Smith, and Smith immediately got hurt. It took him like 7 seconds, and he tore up his knee, so that's that. So if they just don't, for whatever reason, believe Bryce Petty is ready, but I'm ready, and I think all Jet fans are ready to see whatever the future is going to hold. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Just so people understand what Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing with the Jets right now, he is on pace to throw 23 interceptions and has a passer rating of 68. No quarterback has thrown that many interceptions with a passer rating that low this century. This century. That includes Mark Sanchez and everybody else. You can't play worse than he's playing. He's killing the Jets. So it is not just a function of letting the kids play. It's a function of benching a guy who right now is not giving you the best chance to win because he is giving the ball to the other team at a ridiculous rate.
He leads the league with 13 interceptions. You know who's second in the league?
Yeah, isn't it Keenum?
Case Keenum.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Has 11, yeah.
Yeah, I opened it up by saying that by our metrics, they're the two worst quarterbacks in the league.
Put a number to the interceptions.
Yeah, and now they're going head-to-head. They have combined to throw 17 touchdowns and 24 interceptions, and now they're starting against each other this weekend, and I think the entire world would rather see other people playing
I would
that
say.
game. There's another interesting thing coming out on one of the teams in that game, Mike, that I'm very curious to hear your perspective on. We'll do that in a moment. Plus, most importantly, the winning word. The winning word of the morning is coming up next here. Just be listening or watching. We'll give you the word. We'll give you the ways to enter. You could win a fabulous trip with us to the college football national championship game. That's after this word from Dollar Shave Club, which you know we love. They've been with us for years now, Mike, and the shave is fantastic.
It is. What you probably don't know is the other amazing products they have as well. They have stuff for your hair, for your face, for everywhere to keep you feeling and looking fresh. If you're not a member or have never joined Dollar Shave Club, now's the time. You get your first month of razors for free. Just pay the shipping. That's only a couple of bucks there anyway. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Mike to join. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Mike. We're back after this on Mike and Mike.
Alabama head coach Nick Saban.
I'd like to give a special thanks to all the men and women out there who have dedicated their time and energy to, our safety as a country and the quality of life that we have. What you do is certainly appreciated more than you know, and we wish you the very best on Veterans Day.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
Mike and Mike, our Sports Center, brought to you by 1-800-Flowers. You trying to make up for another weekend spent in your football lair? Surprise her with a 1-800-Flowers.com bouquet. To order 36 stunning autumn roses for only $36, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, enter the code Mike. Hurry, the offer ends on Friday. All right, here's the most important thing we will do today on the program, and that is give you the winning word of the morning and thus your chance to win a fabulous trip with us to the college football national championship game. Again, with our thanks to our friends at AutoZone who've partnered up with us to give you this chance to be on the road with us. Get in the zone with AutoZone. I'm going to give you the word right now. Golic is going to give you two ways to enter. You should enter both ways right now. We will have a winner today, and you and a guest will be coming with us to the national championship game. And in honor of today being Election Day and it being an easy word to spell, today's winning word is quite simply vote.
It's a good word.
It's a good word.
Yes, it is. A good word. Brooksy did a good job with that one.
VOTE. Please cast your, obviously there are a lot of places you can vote today, but in this particular case, please do enter the contest for a variety of reasons. Among them, we want you to win, and secondly, we want to reward Brooksy.
Yes, we do.
It's sort of like a, Pavlov dog kind of a thing.
We got to give him a treat. Every now and then give him a treat.
To keep coming up with good, easy-to-spell words for Brooksy. So today's word is VOTE. And Golic, here are the two ways to enter.
Only two ways. Please don't do it any other way but these two ways, or you really will not be entered. So you will text the word vote to 777-000, or you'll enter it online at mikesroadtothecfp.com. Again, text the word, which is vote, to 777-000, or enter online at mikesroadtothecfp.com. Enter. Good luck. Look forward to taking the 15 winners and their guests, so 30 people, to Tampa Bay for the national championship game.
Just made me laugh in the middle of that. While we were talking, Brooksy held up a sign that said #Fire Brooksy.
Oh, yeah. We've tried. We can't.
Kind of funny. We don't have that authority.
Brooksy, we've tried, believe me.
Quickly, before I get to another thing, you ran out of time there. You wanted to read something you said was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. About, Fitzpatrick and Case Keenum. Do you bench them both for Goff and for Bryce Petty? And we're talking about Fitzpatrick. SC Gridiron Girl. So I'm not even going to make any USC jokes about how ridiculous this is. Do you think there's a chance Fitzpatrick could be tossing interceptions on purpose? No. And I'll just leave it at that.
Listen, go ahead.
Ridiculous thought process. And I'll stop. Because, listen, if Gridiron, SC, USC, people are going to think, because of Notre Dame, which isn't very good this year, I'm ripping USC, that it's a person. It's not. It's a ridiculous statement. Ridiculous.
Okay, I felt like you had something inside of you wanted to get out there.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, of course. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. I genuinely do. I think he's a leader. I think he's a fighter. I think he's a tough guy. There's something about the way he refuses or can't figure out how to slide that I appreciate. There's nothing about him I don't like. I think he is a terrific backup quarterback. I would love to have him as a backup quarterback on any team that I wanted.
You could hopefully trust as a backup.
Yeah, I think he's a guy who, and Louis Riddick said it yesterday, if he comes in and plays 2 games for you, he's as good as probably anybody in the league in that role. But over the course of a long period of time, his flaws really come to the surface, and it becomes a problem. He played great last year. Great. And that will never be taken away from him. It was one of the best seasons any Jet quarterback has ever had. And so I'm glad they went out and signed him this year. It was the right thing to do to try and catch that lightning in a bottle again. But it hasn't worked. It hasn't happened. It is time to go to the bullpen and play the kid and see what happens.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let me read you one other thing very quickly. This is not a Jets thing as much as it is an overall football issue. You know Amy Trask,
yes,
right?
I
Who
do.
For years ran the Oakland Raiders, and now works at CBS, and she's a very good follow on Twitter. The Jets, you might have seen, benched 2 of their best defensive players, Muhammad Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson, for the first quarter of their game this week against Miami for disciplinary reasons. And the coach refuses to tell you what they are, and I have a whole other issue with that, but let's put that aside for the moment. Ultimately, it is now basically everyone knows that it's because they have been repeatedly late for meetings and things, and whatever it is. It's not really significant what it was for. But it was a disciplinary thing. He benched them for the first quarter. In that first quarter, the Jets' normally stout rush defense got gashed.
Yeah, they were best in the
J.J.
league going into that game.
No one runs on the Jets.
No, 3.3 yards carrying going into that game.
He ran like crazy on them in that first quarter, all the way through to the end of the quarter. Those 2 guys came back to start the second quarter. The Dolphins were knocking on the door of their second touchdown, and they scored there, and they wound up winning a very close game. So you could argue that decision goes a long way towards costing the Jets a game. I'm kind of torn on this. Amy Trask tweeted, New York Jets sitting players as discipline raises issue I've long considered. If disciplining players hurts the whole team, is it the right thing to do? It's a very good question. What do you think?
It's a great question, and it's one that coaches have to deal with, because what if just about every former coach and or player we talk about what's the best way to get to a player? Is this playing time? You know, but this is now the pros, different from college before everybody makes their money jokes and such. In the pros, you can take their money. You can fine them, and you can fine them if they're repeatedly late. The fines can go up and to a certain amount. But will it make more of an impression if you take them off the field? And then if you're taking them off the field, what does it do for your team? I have kind of never been a fan at the pro level of taking the guy off the field. If the guy can help my team, I'm there to win. You know, if you can find another way to discipline, you can go with money. It's a little different than the NFL than in college, when all of a sudden you could run guys till they drop, or you could make the guy who did something wrong stand there and watch as everybody else runs in college. You can't do that in the NFL. You're not going to do that in the NFL. Really, the 2 ways is money and playing time. And the NFL, the pro ball, is all about winning. So I don't know if I'm putting myself – there's a line everywhere. So is missing meetings, is that the line you're going to make that says, I'm going to keep this guy off the field? And you saw the result in that first quarter.
I have a variety of thoughts. I want to hear Ryan Clark's thoughts as well. He's joining us in studio next. Stay.
Now with your American Express card, it's 2 times as splendid to shop small at local stores, because today is 2 Day, and you could earn 2 times your rewards. So now those Main Street beats and corner treats are 2 times as cool and 2 times as sweet. One-of-a-kind finds have 2 times the surprise, and hidden spots are 2 times the tops. There's always a special feeling when you shop small in your neighborhood. And now that it's 2 Day, it feels 2 times as good.
Now through December 31st, you could earn 2 times your rewards when you shop small with an enrolled American Express card. Learn more and enroll at AmericanExpress.com. You will not earn 2 times rewards on any bonus you may already enjoy with your card. Prepaid and corporate cards, cards issued by other financial institutions, the Plum Card, and certain other cards are not eligible. Reward cap and other terms apply.
Learn more and enroll online today at AmericanExpress.com. Get out, get together, and shop small.
I'm Jamel Hill, and on the latest His and Hers podcast, award-winning writer and millennial culture critic Jamila Lemieux joins me to discuss the impact sports is having on the presidential election.
The North Carolina Tar Heels head to Durham to face their fiercest rivals, the Duke Blue Devils. Touchdown! Coverage begins Thursday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Presented by Dr. Pepper.